Hmm. So as always, we want to come into a state of acceptance for the present moment. And that is just the simplest thing to do. It's just acknowledging what is actually here. Simple, but not easy. Simple, but not easy. But it's very simple. You just want to acknowledge what is actually here. What the body feels like, what your mind feels like, what your emotions feel like, what is happening in your external environment. And this is literally a kind of reversal of our normal momentum of our behavior and intention. That is, rather than trying to fix or improve or avoid or do all the things we're normally trying to do with every moment of our day, as we sit down to meditate, we're starting to reverse that habit. And we're going into the opposite habit, which is we're not trying to fix or change anything. Now, because it's such a strong habit, we have to keep a little bit up. And that is just, we're trying to control our attention a little bit. That's the only thing we're doing. And right now we're turning our attention to the idea of acceptance. And we're just starting to feel how that's like pulling your foot off the gas pedal and letting yourself start to coast. Letting your life coast for a second. The room around you is coasting. It doesn't require you to do anything to keep it going. It just keeps existing, just keeps going. The floor beneath you just keeps existing. You don't have to do anything to keep it there. The air around you just keeps existing. Nothing required of you. You can let it coast. The world outside your room, it's fine. It's going to be existing no matter what you do. You don't have to do anything. Your clothes that are on your body, just existing, don't require any effort on your part. Your hair doesn't require you to do anything about it. You can notice right when I mention it, does it look good? Do I like it? That's fine. That's fine. That's your normal habit of mind. You're just like, hey, it doesn't require you to do anything about it. Your head, your heart, your gut, your arms, your hands, your legs, your feet. We are just acknowledging that they're here and they don't require us to do anything. We don't have to fix them. We don't have to improve them. The mind might want to argue with that, and it's just like, hey, 30 minutes, try it, right? Try it. Now there might be some emotions, and there might be some discomfort, which is the most basic form of emotion, really. And there might be thoughts that are saying things do need to change, and we can accept those too. So there's a desire to want to change things. Great. You can accept that. Let it be the way it is. You don't need to fix it. That is an emotion. Emotion is like a wave, and it will move and crash on its own as long as you get out of the way and let it rise and fall. Thoughts arise like waves in the ocean. You don't need to control them, improve them, get on board with them, drive them, or get rid of them. Okay. So we're doing this at a very general level, this idea of just acknowledging this is where we are. This is ultimately the point of meditation. And we have some very specific practices that allow us to develop this skill because it's so against our normal habits. So we're going to start doing some of those practices, but you can always start your sit by just acknowledging where you are. If it's fairly difficult to do that, I really invite you to find some part of your body or your environment that feels okay or good and acknowledge that that's here. Oh yeah, this feels good. My hands on my thighs feel good. The breath in my nose feels good. My butt on the seat feels good. And I can just accept that that's true. I can keep acknowledging that until I settle down a little bit. And that can be your whole sit as well. That's a perfectly great sit. In fact, let's just do that for a while for everybody. If this is something you've never done before, then just take a little moment to look around your body and find something that feels okay. And what we're going to start doing is paying attention to the reality of that, which means the sensory experience. It's not our story about our body. It's not our picture about how the feeling looks in the body. It's the actual feeling. And what is that actually feeling made of? It's made up of just basic sensory things that nerves do. Tingles, warmth, coolness, movement, pressure. Is the pressure heavy or light? Is the movement smooth or staccato? Is the sensation of pleasure warm or cool? Where is the boundary of this sensation of pleasantness, of okayness? Where's that boundary in 3 dimensions, the top and the bottom, the left and the right, the front and the back? And for the purposes of concentration, if you're having any trouble concentrating, you want to use a label, and here we're feeling. So you could just say feel, feel. If you really wanted to emphasize the resource element of it, the pleasure element, you could say good, good. So we are breathing in and out, and we're allowing that to happen naturally. And wherever we're feeling something pleasant, it is changing and alive a little bit, just because the body is changing and alive. It's breathing in and breathing out. In, out. Feel, feel, feel. So if we're working with any kind of emotion that it feels stuck or is a pattern or feels old, then it's really important to have a sense of safety before we really work with it. It's not always possible, of course. Life throws things at us, but we can try and generate as much sense of safety as we can. And this is one way, really going in and feeling the parts of our experience that are already safe and okay. and we maybe want to think of this as the primary way to work with emotions, is by attending to sense of okayness in the body. We allow the body to start to relax, and that allows the emotion to start to relax. Now, that could make the emotion go away, or it could just make the emotion start to flow in a safe, more healing way, and might require no other effort on your part. Just keep coming back to a sense of okayness in your body or in your experience. Those of you who this is a new experience or a new thing to do, you might again notice that emotion starts to rise because you're starting to relax. Notice your instinct to shut that emotion down or to try not to feel it. That's very normal. And that will start to make you unrelaxed, right? It'll make you more tense. So you just come back to some sense of relaxation or safety, and you just keep working with it, but you're not fighting with it. You just allow it to either flow if it's ready to flow or get shut down. It's totally okay to let it shut itself back down, but just be conscious that that's what's happening. Oh, I was starting to feel sadness and then I shut it down. Okay, but that's fine. You just have to be awake to it. And as you're awake to it and you say it's okay, eventually the parts that's shutting it down will go, okay, they're letting me shut it down whenever I need to. So it will start to let the emotion flow more easily over time. Now, also for many of you, whether you're new or not, doing this, the body might start feeling more relaxed or more pleasant. It doesn't have to, but it might. And it's okay to start paying attention to a wider part of the body as you're tending to the pleasantness in the body and it starts to spread, then you can spread your attention wider, really feeling the rest of the body coming on board. Maybe allowing any part of you that's sort of tense, that is ready to relax, letting go of your forehead or your jaw, letting go of your throat or your shoulders. Let go of your arms or your hands. Letting go of your chest or your solar plexus or your belly. Yeah, I really do encourage you, if this feels good or supportive, it feels like what you need today, you just stay with this practice. It's a practice of labeling pleasant feeling in the body, staying with one pleasant feeling or allowing it to spread over the rest of the body. Really feeling what it feels like though, not trying to create it or generate it, feeling the warmth and the coolness, the tingling, the vibration, the flow, the pressure, heavy or light, the shape, and allowing that to happen, acknowledging it. But if you would like to, we can go into a little tour of where the places our emotion might be built. So let's start with feeling in the body. So we've already been feeling the body. Now what we want to do is wake up to any emotional feel in the body. It could be positive right now because it's resource. That's fine. If you're feeling joy or happiness or love or compassion or gratefulness, you will notice emotional feel most strongly across the front of the body, from the face all the way down to the bottom of the torso. So all the way from the lower belly, groin region, into the guts, into the solar plexus, into the heart, chest area, into the throat, the mouth, the eyes, the forehead. This is where emotion presents for us most obviously in the body. And we can keep labeling feel, feel. Just because this is emotion doesn't mean it's any different than the other feelings. It's still made up of heat and coolness, light or heavy pressure, shape, movement, flow, tingling. And our only job is to become conscious of what it's actually made of, not our story of it, not our image of it. What does this feeling in the body actually feel like? It can be a little useful to just say what it feels like the emotion is, if that's popping into your head. Don't deny that. But emotion is beyond our stories of it. So even if we label it fear, you want to just hold that lightly. You can go, oh, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm sad. And just notice when you acknowledge that feeling, maybe it flows a little bit, maybe it gets a little bigger or louder or more intense. But it also is more easy. It's not as stuck. Also, if you don't want to say I'm afraid, because it's sort of not true, you could say there is fear, there is sadness. And after you've done that, just acknowledge that maybe it's that type of emotion. You can come back to labeling it. Feel, feel. Feel. Some of the people on Zoom have been doing this for a while, so this is just a little bit more advanced. Is to notice that your feelings are complex, even in the body. So you might notice the feeling itself, but if, for instance, you don't like the feeling, like you wish you weren't feeling the feeling, or it's hard or it's painful, then there's almost certainly another feeling in the body that is your response to the feeling. So say you're feeling fear in the chest and you really don't like it, then there's probably another part of your body that is the not liking of it. So there's a way of just starting to become awake to the whole front part of the body and noticing all the pockets of emotion there and how they're related. This is a little more advanced, so don't worry about it. It's just more to keep track of. But all we're trying to do is accept the actual pattern of emotion in our body right now, in this present moment. It's like, oh yeah, this fear, I really don't like it. And then there's another place that that not liking is. Oh, it's this fear in my chest. I really don't like it. There's this nausea in my belly that is the not liking. Now, important to remember that we're breathing in and breathing out, and that there's still parts of your body that feel pleasant. In fact, if you can just find the boundary of the emotion, even if it's a negative emotion, on the other side of that boundary, it doesn't feel bad. So all our emotions, even our most difficult ones, are surrounded by non-difficulty or ease. Another little feature of the most difficult emotions is that they're a little bit like black holes. They've packed a lot of stuff into a small area, and we haven't let it out for years. We've just kept adding stuff to it. So when we start to give it more space, it will want to expand and move. And that feels scary because we're starting to see the stuff, that the feelings that were packed in there. But that's actually a good sign because we're starting to let it dissipate. So even though you might find the boundary of emotion and it's small, give it space, it might start to expand. That's good. That's starting to try the process of unpacking all the stuff that's been packed in there. And it's actually pleasurable when you get past the pain. So the wisdom of working with these things is really to be kind to yourself. If you notice these emotions coming up and causing tension throughout the body, then it's causing your body to shut down. We want to go back to resource. We want to be as relaxed as we can as we feel what's here. The goal is not just to pound away on emotion with our attention, because that might not be what is needed. It's just to acknowledge what's here and be able to be with it in an accepting, open, loving, compassionate attitude. The emotion is arising in awareness. It is just what it is. It doesn't require you to control it. All we're trying to do, all the things I've said so far, are just ways of helping you see what's there, not requiring you to do anything. Make it better, fix it, force it to change. Just lovingly open to the fact that this is what I feel like in this part of my body. And I really encourage you to go back to resource anytime you want to, anytime you need to, anytime it feels appropriate. That can require some willpower because negativity can really both push our attention away and it can draw our attention in. So it requires the skill of the meditator to focus on what we're deciding to focus on. I'm focusing on the feeling, and now I'm going to go focus on the resource. So I want to just do a short touch in on the other two parts of the emotion. So this is the part of the iceberg that's under the water. But we don't want to ignore that there might be stuff going on mentally. So right now, it doesn't matter if it's the emotional mind or not. We're just going to pay attention to the talking mind. So acknowledge you love that emotion, you allow it to be there, you're not shutting it down, but we're now turning our attention to sound in the mind. And we're going to hear it as sensory data. Pitch, high pitch, low pitch, loud or soft, rhythmic, has a rhythm to it, staccato or legato. It has a location. So at first, we want to just engage with this as purely sensory, especially if it's emotional. There may be real clear things that are being said, and that can be useful and insightful to notice, oh, my mind is saying this. But the way to process the emotion at first, especially, is to notice that it's just sound. Even though the phrase might sound really hateful or scared, or it's made up of just sound, and it's sound in your head. Now, right now, you may not be feeling any emotional talk, mental talk, or hearing any emotional mental talk. That's okay. We're practicing paying attention to the talking mind through sound. I'll just give you another minute of this. Okay, let's try a little bit of mental image now. Again, you can always stay wherever you want to stay. We're just doing a little tour here. And so this requires some concentration. We're going to turn our attention now to any pictures in the mind. And the best place to look here is just sort of behind the eyelids. And so there's a sort of, you can see the back of your eyelids, but you also, this is where you imagine things. And this will be the visual aspect of what you're picturing. So memories might arise here, fantasies about the future, random dreamlike images could happen. Pictures of yourself right now, how what you look like right now, and your body right now in the room, all this stuff might arise in the mind. And again, we're more interested in it as a sensory experience. It is color, it's light and dark, be bright or dim. It has edges and lines, shape. And it might be moving or flowing or jumping. There are all ways we can contact our imagery through the sensory data that it's made of. Again, these images could be very scary or very attractive. And we're sort of allowing that to be there and just be interested in what is it made up of in terms of color and light and shape. As always, if there's nothing there, then you just pay attention to the blank space, the restful space behind the eyelids. not trying to control anything or improve anything. We're just trying to become to awake to what is here and to allow it to be here without interference. Developing a new relationship with our life, with our experience. Today, we've been developing a new relationship with the underpinnings of our emotional life. Okay, so we're out of time for today, so we're going to finish up there. I invite anybody who wants to just keep meditating if they feel like they need to go back to resource for a while. It's important to finish up in a way that makes the body settle down. If for any reason the mind or the body, emotional body, has created more activation, just give yourself a little time with the peaceful parts of the body. But we're going to finish up here and allow yourself maybe to give yourself a hug. Let yourself feel your heart. Let yourself feel your belly. This is a kind of way of thanking the body for being still, of thanking the body for being brave, and allowing you to sit there while you look at whatever is real. That requires bravery. Otherwise, we would do it all the time. I like to do a little head swipe, face swipe, shoulder swipe. These are very peaceful, calming things to the nervous system. You can do underneath the belly, you can do behind the back and the kidneys area. And you can get up and walk around a little bit, maybe move your body improvisationally how it wants to move.